And it says my Hangout is on air live. Now let me invite you again. And you should have a link. Perfect.
Where's my video?
Well, I see your face and I hear your voice. Oh, it's like, it looks like it's ringing.
Yeah.
You have to click. You have to click video on there.
Oh, I did.
Hey, we got it. Perfect. Are we able to split the screen? Hold on, let me see.
Split the screen.
Hear me?
Yeah.
I can't hear you now.
Still can't hear me?
I can't hear you at all. Did you just put your headphones in or something?
Yeah, unplugged my headphones.
You talking, but I don't hear anything.
Can you hear me now?
Try again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect. I can. Now say something again.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, perfect. Okay, I got my headphones on. So now let's go Facebook Live. Are you ready?
Getting there. Okay, so Facebook Live on my phone, and are you broadcasting?
We've got some things to prop up our phones,
what?
Correct?
Not really. This is fucking my room on my bed. It's like the worst. It's like the worst.
You know, Chris, you're so funny. I appreciate you so much. I'm excited to do this. So this is Jocelyn Hillian and Chris Bird.
Uh-oh. Got the lag. Might be me, might be you. I don't know. Just like Hillian says. Okay. Lawrence Poindexter, maybe. That's pretty fun. Mm.
All right, Chris, am I back on with you? I'm here. The life of a very interesting.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. What?
You got it?
Getting it.
Getting it. I'm gonna wait. Make sure that we're all set up.
That's a good idea. That's a very good idea.
I have so much anxiety about going live.
Why? You what?
I said I am getting over my anxiety about going live because I'm not going to delete this, dude. I don't want to do that. It's just a lot of work, and we're all about vulnerability and transparency and no secrets, you know? So like, this is what life looks like. And I'm just interested to talk about life and show people what we do and who we are.
Okay, so they will not be able to hear us, but they'll be able to see us. Is that what we're?
No, because we're talking through our computers and our phones at the same time. So my headset is plugged into my phone. You don't need your headset in if you don't want, but I see you, I hear you. And as soon as I plug my headset in just so I can stay focused, and then my phone loves to play with the sound via Facebook. So I just like my headset. It's easier for me. But I don't think you'll need to wear your headset. You could just plug your phone in and we'll just go Facebook Live right now.
All right, what are we titling this?
It is titled Ego at its Finest. At its finest. And then it's conquer your fear and ego, or conquer your ego and be fearless and have hashtag limitless life, just hashtag limitless life, and everything else is hashtag on YouTube. So let's not worry about all the hashtags right now. We can go back and edit that, right?
Yes, conquer your ego and become limitless. What was it?
Conquer your ego. I'm writing it at the same time. And be fearless.
And be fearless. Hashtag limitless life.
Leaders.
Fearless leader.
Of a limitless life. Hashtag E5 and limitless life.
E5 or E5 life, or both, and limitless life.
I'll do E5 life. That makes sense.
Limitless life. Conquer your ego and be fearless leaders of a limitless life. E5 life, limitless life.
Your ego and be a fearless leader of a limitless life. Hashtag E5 life, limitless life.
Got it.
All right. You ready to go live on everything?
Hold up.
You just tell me when. I'm waiting.
I will.
I've got textidextrous hands. Instead of, they're ambidextrous and textidextrous, meaning I can text like a mad woman. Are we ready? Oh, get our waters. I don't have my jug. I don't have my jug of water.
I'm sorry. So you got your phone set up and everything? You got like...
I'm solid. I'm like, let me make sure. Yeah, I'm just solid. I'm just gonna put it here.
Cool. Make sure I delete stuff off my calendar so it's not popping up during our call. And we're doing 30 minutes.
It's just an hour. Let's see what happens. I scheduled an hour. I scheduled it till till 12:30.
Okay. Cool. Nobody calls me while I'm doing
I'm sure
this.
there's gadgets that we could use to do this all at the same time, like ways to make it happen easier.
Oh yeah. All right.
I like the chair.
I know. I wasn't feeling the wall, and I wanted to sit in a chair, just sitting on my bed. Not good for respiratory purposes.
Yeah.
It's easier to breathe. Okay. So I don't like this phone setup, but it's better than nothing.
Okay. Same for my phone setup. We got the same thing. So we ready?
We're ready.
All right. Let's go live.
Going live. 3, 2, 1.
Hi, this is Jocelyn Hilling, and I'm here with Chris Burns. We are so excited to be broadcasting live via YouTube, via Google Chrome, and via Facebook Live. So everybody has a chance to join in and hear our live first podcast called The Limitless Life. Chris and I are going to be talking about ego at its finest. Conquer your ego and become fearless leaders of a limitless life. The really cool thing is, if you guys want to tune into our YouTube channel, you can absolutely see what this looked like to set this up. And you see two fearless leaders, vulnerable and transparent, working through technology and madness to make this happen so that we can have so many people join in at the same time from the comfort of their own home, because we get to be in the comfort of our own home. Am I right, Chris?
Oh, yeah. That is right. And we're going to have a lot of fun today.
We are. I was telling Chris, it's so cool to see the backgrounds of where we're at. Two people that have conquered ego, conquered life, and are ready to share just so much fun information just so you can create your game and you can have an awesome life. And it's just real. Like, we're living real life, and this is all it is. And it's simple and it's easy. And we want to share our tips, tricks, tools, skills with everybody because we just love everybody. And I'm going to let Chris kind of take it away from here so I can have a drink of water.
Yeah, take your drink, because hydration is utterly important. You'll see me drinking from my gallon as well. And that's something else that, I think as human beings, we look to hide. Other people do. Of course, we don't. People look to hide the humanness in what's going on with them, like needing to take a drink of water, taking a second, like, hold on, I don't want to be vulnerable. I want to have this pure, clean, perfect perception of it with my audience. I want my audience to see me as perfect and never mess up. And that's just once we're able to get past that, and transcend the ego, master the ego, we're able to really harness our vulnerability and our humanness to connect with people and to influence, versus having it be something that holds us back.
You're so true. And I'm going to be just really transparent. Being live freaked me out. I want to be really prepared for things. And when technology didn't work right today, I was like, you know what, Chris, I'm not going to restart this podcast. I'm not going to restart this broadcast on YouTube, because I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to conquer my fear and anxiety about being live, because there's nothing wrong with it. We are just people, and we have mistakes about us, and we have what I would call imperfections, and every single person's imperfection is perfectly beautiful once we truly embrace ourselves and just lead our life. And I feel like, Chris, you in particular, you have this special, amazing skill set to just love on people beyond belief, just as they are. And there's so many issues because we as human beings love to talk about everything we are not. And we strive so much to become a product or a placement or a service. It reminds me, and everyone hears me tell this story, when my daughter came home from school in kindergarten, she said, "Mom, what do I want to be? What should I be?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Well, what should I be?" And I said, "You're going to be Bailey." And she said, "No, Mom, aren't I supposed to be like a doctor or something?" And I said, "Honey, you can do the doctor thing, but you will always be Bailey because you're perfect the way you are." And it's so simple simple switches in our language that really reprogram and rewire what I like to call the stories and the constructs of the mind. And Chris and I say with confidence, we freaking mastered our minds, and we want to share that with everyone and live an enlightened lifestyle. Really, am I right?
Yeah, I think now would be a great time for a shameless plug. You know, the E5 Life Facebook community is really an area where I feel I can be myself, like fully self-expressed. And you know, I made a video on there this morning about like gamifying goals and like who do we want to be for other people? Like who do we want other people to be for us? And it's just like a level of conversation that most people don't get into because it's always, like you said, focused on what we don't want to be, what we're avoiding. And it's like there's a great analogy when you're driving on the freeway and a tire goes out or something like happens and you like start swerving. The one thing you don't want to do is look where you don't want to go, right? So a lot of people like look at the wall and then they go towards the wall. So instead of that, you want to like look like straight ahead of you at a post, like a long distance ahead of you, so that you can like course correct and end up going there. Because like where we go in life is where we're focusing on. So if we're focusing on being this expansive person who is able to be with anything and be vulnerable and you know, I know that's something we bring together in our community, like that's the type of environment and vibration that I want to live in and the type of people I want to surround myself with.
Absolutely. And hey, Chris, just tell everybody, because I don't know the actual web address, but how do they get to E5 Life?
So it should be facebook.com/groups/E5, like the letter E, the number 5, life. That should be it. And if not, just search on Facebook, E5.
Or find Chris Burns,
life.
or whatever, and he'll throw you in there for you. And he loves to have Facebook friends. Chris, I loved your analogy, and it's so true. And many times, you know, what I like to do is I like to notice in my body, like if I'm feeling something, and a lot of the times what we think we feel is bad. And so if I'm feeling what most people might consider like an anxiety, most people try to calm their body by putting things inside of it instead of turning towards it. And so what's really interesting is every single time I would feel what I consider fear, I move into fear and I embrace it. And then that's different. And that's really what creates this lifestyle and this becoming of a being rather than a doing, is moving towards the discomfort. And that's when you guys go to my YouTube channel, you'll see this video called The Embrace, but it's really about the embrace of something that's not even discomfort, because Chris and I also coach people and teach them, you know, this new theory that I wrote on ego deconstruction, but it's about embracing the discomfort by retraining your mind. And lead a different life, that you can be who you're going to be, and you're perfect who you are, and you get to embrace who you are at your soul, not even in your soul, just like embrace you and just love you. And it feels amazing when we allow ourselves that beautiful gift and opportunity. Yeah, and I'm excited to share.
Quick question for you, Jocelyn. You've like definitely invested way more time and energy and like practice into ego. So I'd like to kind of take the lead on facilitating, you know, what can people expect out of mastering the ego and really tap into your knowledge. So do you mind if I ask you a couple questions?
I would love that. Thank you so much, Chris.
Cool. So, you know, really, like, where is it that most people get stopped along the journey of mastering the mind and really owning the ego so that they can, like, produce the results that they want in their life?
Absolutely. So I used to call myself an ego deconstruction specialist, and I specialize in ego. And if you guys go to jocelynhealing.com, there's a free ebook on there. Right on the front page, you click on the ebook, it's yours, just type in your email and it's yours for free. And it has the theory that I wrote, and it's a scientific, logical theory that explains energy conversion in a different way to really understand our emotional state. I was a mental health clinician for about 17 years, and things just didn't make sense to me logically about emotions. And everyone thought something was wrong with me because I was like less emotional. And I'm very, I just like kept myself guarded. And the truth is, it's just because I see emotions very different. And you hear the word ego, and what happens is automatically when someone hears ego, their skin crawls and they think ego is a bad thing. And the second you think ego is a bad thing, ego kicks in. And ego is really an idea in a descriptive state of where we are. And your ego was designed for you to lead you to you. It almost raises us, and then we let it go, because then we're raised and we become who we are, and then we can embrace who we are, and we don't need it anymore. But it serves a valuable purpose through someone's growth. So it's really about the embrace of the ego. And there's a YouTube video that I have called Selflessness versus Selfishness that talks a little bit more about it. But it's the constructs. It's all about stories that our mind tells us about what's right and wrong, good and bad. An ego, Chris, feels like and looks like both somebody that is full of themselves and thinks they're better, and someone that is depressed and anxious. It's both of those things. They're just on two different spectrums, like ego over here and ego over here, but both of them have ego. One is practicing humility and humbleness before they're actually ready for the embrace, and the other one is practicing selfishness before they're ready for the embrace, but they're two the same things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, do people get stopped in trying to be somewhere they're not with their egos, and like they just haven't mastered that aspect, or what stops them from being effective with those?
Actually, what stops almost everybody is words. Words. And we have been trained and conditioned to rely on the word of another man in our language. And what happens is when we want to know something, we trust words that are already written, and we research it, and we find mentors, and we find leaders, and we find brilliant, beautiful people that are at a place that we want to be. And this is where, like, the whole idea of you looking up to someone, Chris, like, you're like, oh, they're better than me, or they're more wise. Like, I want to learn from them. So it's really about a learning and a retraining, but we get stuck in the words. And the cool thing is, Einstein loves to talk about imagination. I always say we only know what we know. And knowingness is very, very different than thinking or reading a word. And half the time, the things that are written, if you guys read my writings, it's in metaphors for a reason. It's written to lead you to you rather than lead you to me, because I'm not about this. It's not about me. It's about you.
Yeah, I know self-discovery is such a critical part of our own journeys, both you and I, as well as with our clients. Like we facilitate them discovering it, them being the source, the genesis, having them like create it and create those connections so that it sticks. Because if they just go out there and read it in a book, then it usually doesn't stick. It's not something that they experience, and that's one of the greatest things about mankind and humankind that I've come to learn is this is an experience. We were talking about like having a journey versus the destination and all that kind of stuff. But
tell them about what happened when you found yourself. Like, and I remember the day, and you said, Jocelyn, I think I'm just going to surrender all expectations and let things be what it's going to be. And that's the second everything changed for you. And like, what did you find out about you when you found you? Can you tell people that?
Yeah, so it's like really just being comfortable in my own skin. And one thing I actually started doing in that process is like closing my eyes.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but go on.
It's all good. So I started like going within myself and closing my eyes and like actually feeling, being present, being with myself, because I surrendered like how things are supposed to look. Like to get answers from other people or whatever it might be, right? Is it still choppy?
No, I'm just copying our YouTube link and I'm going to post it at the same time as I'm hearing you talk. That's all.
Perfect. I love it. So it's like I was able to go within and not have it look a certain way. So it's like trusting myself. It's like this freaking realm, this world of trust and vulnerability, both with myself and with other people that like I didn't have before. And surrendering, because like what happens when we just let go of all expectations? For me, I really owned who I could be. I owned that I'm a leader right now. I owned that I can like really make a difference in people's lives and step up and organize versus having someone else like come in and save the day. That was one of the things that stopped me in growing my business before, is like I wanted other people to produce the results. And it's like what I got is like I'm the one.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so what I got.
No, go ahead.
I'm the one, right? And it's not I'm the one coming from ego, like I'm all high and mighty, but I'm the one who's responsible to take care of myself, to let go when I need to let go, to hold on to the things that I need to hold on to, and like really give energy where it needs to go in my life, and apply that energy. So like what opened up for me was just this immense feeling of trust. You know, with surrender, with letting go comes the ability to trust and know, like know in my biology, in my feeling, in my cells, in my words. Like my words started transforming because I knew that like I was doing what feels right, what was right. And there's no right or wrong, but what was right for me on my path to self-discovery, self-growth, and becoming the best version of myself that I can be. So that's really, like, I had a lot of fun.
Well, and I feel like, you know, there's like a 10-year age difference or so between us, but I feel like that had a lot to do, like, with you stepping into how much power you have. Was you're like, it was kind of surreal. Am I at this place and I'm only 25, and how does that happen? And can I be this fearless leader at the age of 25? And you can, am I right?
Yes, absolutely.
And Chris and I just modeled something that I want to point out, that only ego would say something like this. But Chris, when I was multitasking and posting links, did you feel as though I wasn't listening to you?
No, I was just making sure the connection was there. And I was like, all right, let's keep going.
Because Chris and I are in a place of what I would call trust. And he trusts me and I trust him, and I trust myself and he trusts himself. And you're able to actually multitask. But have you ever had a conversation with someone and you're like, are you looking at me right now? Like, are you hearing what I'm saying? That's a prime example of when ego kicks in. And then the only reason that would kick in at that point is because part of you feels unheard. And if part of you feels unheard, that means part of you is not speaking up and asking for what you want and need. I had this beautiful girl come to me yesterday, and she had some drug addiction and she was living on the streets, and she said, would you buy this mattress? And I said, no, I don't need that. And then I'm walking away and she said, do you have food and water? And I said, I do. And I gave her some food and water, and she asked for what she needed, and she had humility. And it was so hard for her to ask that, because sometimes when we're struggling and we're in a place, it is so hard for us to ask for what we need and want. Same for, like, if you're a business owner, we don't want people to know we need clients. We're like, oh my gosh, if people know that I need clients, then all of a sudden everyone's going to think that my business is failing. That is not true. You ask for your referral sources. You tell each and every one of your clients, I'm open for referrals. And this is how you actually create a business where you don't have to pay for marketing, because you market yourself. And it's that easy. So many people would rather spend millions and trillions of dollars and billions on advertising and marketing and all of these things rather than asking for a simple referral. How does that even make sense, Chris?
I don't know. And you know, one thing I got present to is that, you know, even when people, let's say you get a couple referrals, right? Because you deliver awesome value, right? Like, so someone out there, they're a business owner, they're delivering awesome value, they're getting referrals. And what they'll do is they'll keep investing money into marketing and other systems that other people say they should invest in, when really they have systems that are already working, this extremely valuable asset of referrals and, you know, having word of mouth, when in reality they should trust themselves and put more time, energy, and effort into things that are already working. And referrals is like one of the best ways for small business owners to grow very, very quickly. And it's like just mastering that ability to ask, you know?
And it's all about the ask, and then it's actually about the receiving. I train my clients, and so does Chris.
Yeah.
I said, I want you to think of your referral sources as your husband or as your family. And I want you to bake them things. And I want you to invest time and energy into what I would call a relationship, because these people are going to build your business for you. When you actually invest in a true, authentic relationship, it's all about authenticity. So if you are giving because you're hoping to get a referral, that's not being authentic. But when you really, truly find someone you connect with, like when I found Chris, I was like, dang, we're going to work together. We're going to do business together. And I offered him free coaching. And I said, listen, I'm going to coach you for free because we're going to work together. And I'm just trusting that. I gave to him, and I knew that it was going to benefit the both of us. And I learned so much about myself when I did that process, and I trusted the relationship. It's all about the relationship, not just with you. It's about your relationship with yourself and the relationship after you enhance yourself the relationship you bring to others when you trust yourself. But so many of us don't trust ourselves, and that's because of the mind.
Yeah, and it's funny because like not only have you stepped up as I expanded and really owned my power, but I've had other people coming in saying, hey, I'd love to help you for free, get you what you want, because I know like you are on the path to deliver massive value and like be someone who I want to know in the future, who I want to build a relationship with. So if you're the type of person who's always giving back value and you have these big dreams and you stay consistent with you keep going, and it's not from a place of ego, but from a place of like really being of service and wanting to add value to the world, like I know we both do, like people are magnetized to you. Like it's incredible. It blows my mind. Like I never would have thought life worked like this when I first started business. It was always so transactional, but I've just recognized as I keep delivering value, posting things about gratitude, inspiring people, having phone conversations where I'm like, what's important to you? And just for no reason, just because I want to find out what's important to people and have them get clarity and awaken their power and the God that they have within them. Like as that happens, like just things start freaking, it's like so nuts. It's a magnet.
You know what, Chris? The cool thing is, when you're talking, I really think about the game. Like Chris has created, we call it the game of life, but he's gamified this. He's gamified all of it. And I have too. And we used to be these video game nerds, like obsessed with video games. And I was like, dude, it feels like the nerds, like in the video game world, like we're going to beat the boss. And we have these superhuman powers because we just love on people. But the only reason you're asking about like what someone's, what is their dreams and what is that, is you realize every single person around you can teach you something. And the only reason you're realizing that is you're at a complete place of humility and trust with yourself, knowing that when you have these amazing conversations with people about their dreams. And Chris, would you agree that you and I are like daydreamers, like manifestors, like we live in a pretty magical existence? Am I right?
Yes, 100%.
We talk about superpowers, we talk about mutants, we talk about, and we also talk about the human genome and the mind, and we talk about business, and we talk about real things too. And we also talk about things in a fantasy world, because the truth is, when you start to master your life, your dreams become a reality and your fantasies become a reality. You have to ask for what you want and need, and then you'll receive it. And then that's going to lead you to you. And Chris, you're a fearless leader. I want you to tell people more about your game of life, because I think it's important. And you guys, if you want to learn more about how Chris has gamified consciousness, because he's a phenomenal consciousness consultant, and he works specifically with business leaders, cultures of companies. So Chris and I come in and we kind of clean up companies when they're struggling, and we do this as a team. But when Chris and I work together, we teach you and your culture to create a game that creates a family of embrace, of superhuman powers, of amazingness. So you really have a culture that works with you and for you rather than against you, and you have trust and vulnerability. Chris, tell them more about your game, because I think that it's going to really add some value to this podcast.
Yeah, so there's a couple like really big parts. So just off the top of the head. And I can kind of dive into them. But like one is mastering my language and communication. The second is really challenging myself, expanding myself, making it fun to get outside of my comfort zone. Right? And the third is mastering like business and leadership, because I know once I have those mastered, I can do anything I want in the world. Anything. Right? So let's start with language, and really like this hyper intentionality focused, like just being on point with my language and speaking things into existence, not being willing to being willing to mess up my language and try things that don't work. And like what that looks like is if I say,
Chris, I'm going to have to interrupt you. Chris, I have to interrupt you because you just did it. And I want to point out that you just did that. So you guys realize, if you're hearing Chris, he said, he used the word not, N-O-T, and he said not willing. And then he stopped and he changed it right away. And he goes, be willing, because he wants to lead himself to willingness. And so he corrected it instantly. And that's what he's talking about right there, is mastering the language. And he's already trained his head to do that. And you saw him kind of looking up to the side. He's like making sure he's watching his words, because he's understanding that he speaks things into existence at this point. Go on, Chris. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I had to show people in that moment that you just did it. And that was a prime example of your brilliance and your word mastery, because you're this master of words and language, and you benefit people so much with that. Go on. I'm ready to hear.
Thank you. So that's exactly where I was going. If I said, but, the word but is a great example. Just changing but from but to and, right? So if I say I want to reach $1 million this year, but this, right? I want to reach $1 million this year, and these are the things in the way. But negates what you just said, right? So it's like, if I want to keep the momentum in conversation, it's all about adding. It's all about verbal fluency, keeping things moving and not getting bogged down in things that don't work. So I'm not happy, right? You could say that, or you could say I'm not happy and I'm finding out ways every single day to become more and more happy, to expand my happiness, to increase my joy, right? So there's not any rigidity, right? That's the one thing that is so beautiful. There's so much flexibility, there's so much creation, so much fun, and it's really all about playing with the words and making it a game. How good can I be with my language? How effective can I be? How masterful can I be? And that's really one place that I start. So that's a lot of fun.
I want to use that too as an example, because he said something really specific. That sentence, I'm not happy and I want to point out why he said I'm not happy and. Chris said I'm not happy and because he wanted to validate the fact that you're missing something. And so a lot of the times we don't want to say, if you guys have watched The Secret or The Law of Attraction or Manifestation, we sit in the mirror and we practice positive affirmations. I am abundance. I am wealth. I am Jocelyn. I am this. I am happy. If you actually don't feel happy, don't you dare say that you're happy, because that's not validating to you. That's not authentic, and that's not going to feel good on your body. So a lot of times I'll put my hand even on my chest and just kind of soothe my body a little bit. And okay. And I just skip over the whole happy part in general. And I said, I just like to say the things that I know that I am. And then know the rest will come. And then Chris wants to validate people on a certain level or allow them to be validated. And that's really important. So word mastery isn't something that comes overnight. I love doing that too. It's something that you've practiced for a long time and you've trained yourself to do it. And there's certain levels and certain language that you use at certain points in your growth as a leader. Am I right?
Absolutely. And especially when you're leading people, there's a higher level of intentionality that we can have to influence them, to have them take specific actions. And it's the same thing with ourselves. But when we're up on stage, you and I, we have this level of heightened, it's excitement and intentionality that we are moving the energy. We're moving this crowd, through these spaces with our language. So it's not it's kind of more important, but that's not what I'm getting at. It's that it's more powerful and it's more effective, and we're developing that skill and ability more. So the best thing I can recommend is to get in front of people, do Facebook Lives, go to Toastmasters, speak at your meetups, whatever it might be, but really practice being in a bigger room with more people listening, because that will train you much more quickly.
Yes, absolutely. And Chris and I are both public speakers, and we're used to being in front of large audience. Jocelyn is not used to being live, but I am now, and this feels really good. And I know Chris is excited about being live. He's always used to being live and on point. And we have different comfort zones, and it's all about moving towards the discomfort zone, and that's how you become fearless. But if you want to learn more about having your limitless life, we would encourage you to absolutely go to Facebook.com/E5 Life. Is that right? No, groups/E5 Life. Yes. Healing.com, or definitely go to Chris Burns' website. What's your website, Chris?
ChristopherCBurns.com.
Yeah, he calls himself burning up. He's on fire. And Chris does this amazing thing where he sends out these really cool emails to you. He has this awesome membership site. It's so inexpensive, but he sends out these emails to teach you how to have a limitless life. So if you guys haven't, I have a membership site that's $10 a month. Chris has a membership site. Go to, his website. What was it again, Chris? Make sure I really remember it.
So Christopher C. Burns is my actual website, but you can go to growyourfire.com and sign up for the weekly.
Grow Your Fire. That makes more sense for me. That's why I wasn't hearing that. Growyourfire.com if you want to sign up for Chris Burns' membership site, and I highly suggest it. It's going to be really, really beneficial because Chris charges a lot of money, And the cool thing is you get this for like nothing, and it's going to help so much. E5 Life is completely free. All these live broadcasts are completely free. Our podcasts are completely free. Our YouTube channels are completely free because we want to help everybody. And if you need coaching or you need any help, you can find us online at jocelynhealing.com or our Facebook group.
Boom.
Anything you want to add before we close out, Chris?
We are miracles. We are creators of our reality. We create the rules right now. So nothing is ever out of your control. You have the ability to influence and say how things go at every single level. So just know that you have the ultimate power within you, the ultimate power of God, and to say how things go. You're born of stardust. So wake up, grab your power, and let's go to the top together.
Be a star. Be a star of your limitless life created by trusting yourself and really, truly embracing yourself. And the really, really amazing thing is Chris and I have decided to go live while we record quite a few podcasts. So we will be live. What's the next time we're going to be live, Chris? Do you have that time for people?
A good question. I would have to check that out on my computer.
Yeah. Chris is so good at details and stuff, and this is why we're a phenomenal team, because I'm kind of a space case at times, and I'm okay with that because I just go with the flow, and that's about the control too. So it's funny because I have complete control over my life, but I give up control too, and I allow others to hold me accountable to form a team, and it's really about accountability and discipline from a person that you trust to handle things that you can't handle. It's about teamwork. It's about partnership. It's about family, collaboration. It's all about those relationships. So make sure you use your words wisely so you can conquer your fear and lead your limitless life. And feel free to join Chris and I next time on live with Facebook, with YouTube, and Google. At what time, Chris?
We will be live again on Sunday at 7 p.m. We might be live again before then, so I'm pretty sure we will. So we'll get people those details.
All right. We'll talk soon, guys. Thanks so much if you joined in. I see a lot of people joined in on Facebook. Thank you, everybody that joined in on Facebook. Thank you for everybody that joined in on YouTube. And we look forward to meeting you all in person soon.
Yes. Peace.
Thank you, Chris. Bye.